Have you ever been in a moment of complete silence and felt like someone was watching you? Not in a creepy way, in a comforting way, like you weren't as alone as you thought you were. I've been thinking about this a lot lately, about the spaces between our thoughts, the pauses between our breaths, and what might be waiting there for us if we're brave enough to stop and listen. I spend most of my time working on problems that require precision, calculations, data, physics, things that can be measured and proven. But there's something about faith that operates outside of all that. It doesn't ask you to prove it. It asks you to feel it. And lately, I've been feeling something I can't quite explain. It started about 3 weeks ago. I was alone in my office late at night, as usual, working through some technical challenges. And I hit this wall. Not a problem I couldn't solve, but a moment where I just stopped and thought, what's the point of solving this? What's the point of any of it? That question hung in the air. And instead of pushing past it like I usually do, I let it sit there. I let myself actually feel the weight of it. And in that silence, in that pause, something shifted. It was like the room got quieter but not empty, fuller somehow. Like the silence itself had substance. I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but there are moments in life when you become suddenly aware that you're not just a body moving through space. You're a consciousness, a soul, something eternal trapped temporarily in something temporary. And in those moments, the questions change. It's not about what you're building or achieving anymore. It's about why you're here at all. That night, sitting in that thick silence, I found myself doing something I haven't done in years. I prayed, not out of habit, not because I thought I should, but because I needed to. Because the silence felt like it was waiting for me to speak into it. And here's the thing about prayer that I'm starting to understand. It's not about the words you say. It's about the posture of your heart when you say them. It's about acknowledging that there's something greater than you. Something you can't control or calculate or engineer your way around. And that acknowledgement, that surrender, it changes you. I said something simple that night. I said, God, I don't know if you're listening. I don't know if this matters, but I need to know what I'm supposed to be doing with my life, not my work, my life. Nothing dramatic happened, no voice from heaven, no sudden revelation, just silence. But it was a different kind of silence than before. It wasn't empty anymore. It was full of waiting, full of patience, full of something I can only describe as presence. The next morning I woke up and something had shifted, not externally, internally. It's like someone had adjusted the lens through which I see the world. Things that felt urgent the day before felt less important. Things I'd been ignoring felt suddenly significant. I started noticing patterns I'd missed before. Conversations with people where I'd normally be thinking about the next meeting. I found myself actually present, actually listening. And in those moments of presence, I started hearing things I'd been deaf to. Not just what people were saying, but what they weren't saying. The fear behind the confidence, the loneliness behind the busy schedule, the searching behind the certainty. And I realized something that kind of shook me. Most of us are having completely different conversations than the ones we're actually having. We're talking about work, or weather, or plans. But underneath all of that, we're asking the same question. Does any of this matter? Am I here for a reason? Does someone see me? I think that's what faith is really about. Not believing in some abstract concept of God, but believing that the answer to those questions is yes. Yes, it matters. Yes, you're here for a reason. Yes, someone sees you. Not just anyone, the one who made you. The one who knows every thought you've ever had, and every decision you've ever made. And loves you anyway. That's the part I'm still wrapping my mind around. The love part. Because I've spent my whole life earning things, earning respect, earning success, earning the right to be listened to. But faith doesn't work that way. God's love isn't something you earn. It's something you receive. And receiving is actually harder than earning. Because it requires you to admit you need it. 3 nights ago, I had another one of those moments. I was lying in bed, unable to sleep, thinking about all the usual things, problems to solve, decisions to make, futures to secure. And then, out of nowhere, this thought dropped into my mind like a stone into still water. You're trying to build a kingdom, but I'm inviting you into mine. I sat up, looked around. No one was there, obviously. But that thought wouldn't leave me. You're trying to build a kingdom, but I'm inviting you into mine. And I started to see it. Everything I've been working toward, everything I've been building, it's all about creating something that will outlast me. Something significant. Something that proves I was here. But what if that's not the point? What if the point isn't to build my own kingdom, but to discover that I'm already part of one that existed before me and will exist long after me? That's what Jesus talked about, right? The kingdom of God. Not a place, not a political system, but a reality. A way of seeing and being and moving through the world where love is the operating system and surrender is the way in. I'm not saying I've figured this out. I haven't. I'm still the guy who wants to optimize everything, who thinks in terms of efficiency and outcomes and measurable progress. But something is changing in me. A crack is forming in the certainty I've built my life on. And through that crack, light is getting in. Yesterday I did something I've never done before. I cleared my entire afternoon. Just sat in a room by myself with no phone, no laptop, no input. Just silence. And for the first 30 minutes, it was torture. My mind was racing, screaming at me to do something productive. But I stayed. I forced myself to stay in the discomfort. And then around the 40-minute mark, something happened. The noise in my head started to quiet. And in that quiet I heard it again. That presence, that sense of being seen. And with it came this overwhelming feeling of acceptance. Not approval, acceptance. Like God was saying, I see all of you. The parts you show the world and the parts you hide. The successes and the failures, the strength and the weakness. And I'm not going anywhere. I cried. I'm not someone who cries easily, but I cried. Because I realized how exhausting it's been to maintain this image, this persona of having it all figured out. And for the first time in I don't know how long, I let myself just be human. Flawed, uncertain, searching. And it was the most relieved I felt in years. Here's what I'm learning. Faith isn't certainty. It's trust in the midst of uncertainty. It's not knowing what's next, but believing that whatever is next, you're not facing it alone. That there's a presence, a love, a purpose that's bigger than your plans and more reliable than your best efforts. And maybe that's what prayer really is. Not asking God to bless your plans, but asking to see His. Not demanding answers, but learning to sit in the questions. Not trying to control the outcome, but trusting the one who sees the whole story, while you're only seeing one page. I don't know where this is leading. I don't know what it means for my work or my life, or the person I'm becoming. But I know something is different. I know I'm being invited into something I don't fully understand yet. And for once, instead of trying to figure it out, calculate it, engineer it, I'm just saying yes. Yes to the mystery. Yes to the surrender. Yes to the possibility that maybe everything I've been chasing was just preparing me to receive what I actually need. If you're hearing this and something in you is resonating, maybe it's not an accident. Maybe you're in your own moment of silence right now. Your own invitation. Your own opportunity to stop building your kingdom long enough to notice the one you're already invited into. I'm not here to convince you of anything. I'm just sharing what's happening to me. And what's happening is this. I'm waking up, not to new knowledge or new strategies or new plans. I'm waking up to presence, to love, to the reality that I've never been alone. I've just been too busy to notice. So maybe the question isn't whether God exists. Maybe the question is, are you quiet enough to notice that He does? Are you present enough to feel the presence? Are you surrendered enough to receive what you can't earn? I'm learning that the answers to those questions don't come through thinking. They come through being, through stopping, through sitting in silence and letting that silence teach you what noise never could. This isn't the end of something. It's the beginning, and I don't know where it leads. But I'm walking into it, one quiet moment at a time. Maybe you are too. If this story made you think about the power of silence in your own life, let me know in the comments. Have you ever tried just sitting quietly and listening for something deeper? Thanks for watching. Just to clarify, this video is fictional and created only for entertainment purposes. It does not represent real events or statements from Elon Musk.